Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us. You're watching the 9 at Night. I'm Stephania Jimenez. The city of San Antonio putting the clamps on information from the Eric Cantu shooting investigation in a letter sent to the Texas Attorney General's office today. City leaders asked permission to withhold a wide range of records from the original shooting report to body camera footage that the San Antonio Police Department hasn't released yet. Now, we should point out that the state law requires law enforcement agencies to release basic information on police incidents. If you remember, 17-year-old Eric Cantu, not the one who's pictured, was shot multiple times October 2nd by SAPD officer James Brennan in a McDonald's parking lot. Brennan was fired for violating department policies and then arrested on multiple felony charges of aggravated assault by a public servant. Cantu, who you see there, survived but remains in a hospital. Female student athletes at the University of the Incarnate Word are sharing their frustrations with the way that their teams are treated within the university's athletics department. Two soccer players read a letter during a university meeting. It outlines several alleged issues that women's teams face, like not having the proper equipment. A former university employee saw many of those issues laid out in a 5-page letter that was given to her after a student-athlete advisory meeting on Monday night.
Kind of disheartening to read the letter and find out that the women's soccer team had to stay in rooms that were inadequate when I know we had stayed in fairly decent hotels for football.
We asked the University of the Incarnate Word for a comment, and it released the following statement, quote, "The University of the Incarnate Word takes all student concerns and questions of equity very seriously, and the health and safety of our student athletes is and will always be our top priority. The university has already started working through its extensive processes to assure that we remain in compliance with all university rules, regulations, and standards, and that the concerns listed by the students are heard and fully taken into account," end quote. In other news now, we are waiting on answers about how $400 million in state funding is going to be used to make Texas schools safer. Governor Greg Abbott's office announced that funding yesterday, but right now it's unclear how that money is going to be divided. So here's what we know. The state is transferring roughly $900 million to go toward public safety initiatives. $15 million of that is going to go to Uvalde to help build a new elementary school after the shooting at Robb Elementary. Then you've got $400 million, which is going to be spread out among school districts across the state to strengthen security. The Equity Center, which is a nonprofit, is keeping an eye on how that money is going to be split. The group works with more than 600 schools around Texas and the legislature to fight for equitable funding.
It really doesn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion and our opinion, to distribute it evenly to every campus, to every district, and then every campus in the state when needs vary so much. Now, you've got some campuses that are going to be built within the last few years that are going to have far fewer needs than those old campuses.
The Equity Center is also watching for a report from the Texas Education Agency that analyzes the safety of every school campus across Texas. That report hasn't been released yet, but the Equity Center is hoping that that report is going to factor into how this newest pot of money is going to be split among schools. Now, there is other money that's left over. The rest of the money allocated by the state for public safety initiatives is going to Operation Lone Star on the border and also the COVID-19 response. The defense in the Jessica Briones case rested its case just a few hours ago. Briones, if you remember, is on trial for the death of her 4-year-old daughter. On September 5th of 2017, Briones walked into a police station with her daughter, who was unresponsive. The child died a day later, and doctors found numerous injuries, old and new, throughout her body. Briones is accused of murder, and she faces life in prison if the jury finds her guilty. And closing arguments in this case are expected on Monday. Today, the Bexar County Sheriff's Office got a new tool to stop opioid overdoses. It got Narcan. UT Health San Antonio, which is the state's main distributor of Narcan, sent it to the Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Javier Salazar says it's important for deputies to carry Narcan. He says that just today, deputies got a call about a man who overdosed but was saved with Narcan.
They wanted to make sure that they were sending deputies only that were equipped with Narcan. We had several deputies on the way. Once one deputy arrived, I could hear him on the radio, and he announced that 3 doses of Narcan had already been administered. And the subject was breathing at that point, thankfully.
Now, Sheriff Salazar also says that with this new supply, almost all deputies should be able to carry 2 doses of Narcan while they're on patrol. Switching gears now, happy Friday. And yes, there are so many things going on in San Antonio this weekend, like Muertos Fest, so we want to make sure you're ready. Meteorologist Adam Caskey has your forecast.
Here we go into the weekend. It's going to be very fall-like. 52 tomorrow morning, then a high of only 72 Saturday afternoon. So running below average, also a bit breezy out there. You'll notice the gusty wind out of the northwest. Sunday, just a lot of sunshine, calmer wind, 77 the high temperature. And it could be a little bit of morning fog, by the way, early on Sunday. Monday, Halloween, 77 and mostly cloudy for trick-or-treating. Low humidity and temperatures falling to the 70s. So comfortable. And our next chance of rain comes Tuesday.
Waiting for that. All right. A mother and father who lost their beautiful little boy right here want you to hear their story so that you can support a local center that's focusing on helping children fight heart diseases. So you just saw right there, that's little Ezra. He was born in 2021 with a congenital heart defect. And thanks to screenings that were done before he was born, doctors were ready with a plan of action to treat him. And after 2 surgeries, Ezra was on his way to having a healthy heart. But sadly, after he turned 1, he was diagnosed with cancer, and he passed away just a little more than a month ago. His parents are channeling their grief into purpose now by supporting tomorrow's Children's Heart Foundation walk.
We want Ezra to leave a legacy, helping other families if he can, even just by getting the word out, but just extending our gratitude as well for everything that the Children's Heart Center has done here.
Now, Ezra's parents formed a team of 30 people, of their 30 of their friends and family members, to take part in tomorrow's Children's Heart Walk. It's happening at the San Antonio Zoo, and all the money that's raised from the event is going to be used to treat congenital heart diseases in children. And that treatment, by the way, is available at University Health's Children's Heart Center. Around America, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband is expected to be okay after surviving a hammer attack this morning inside of his family's home. A spokesman for the speaker says that the attacker's in custody. Nancy Pelosi was in Washington during the time of the attack. Right now, the FBI and San Francisco police are investigating the attack, but so far there's no word about a motive. Paul Pelosi, who's 82 years old, is expected to make a full recovery. Rock and roll legend Jerry Lee Lewis has passed away. The piano-pounding, foot-stomping singer known for hits like Great Balls of Fire and Whole Lotta Shakin' Going On died today at his home in Mississippi. His 7th wife, Judith, says that he died of natural causes and that she was by his side when it happened. In his final days, he told her that he welcomed the hereafter and that he wasn't afraid. Jerry Lee Lewis was 87 years old. Just like candy, a carved pumpkin is pretty much a Halloween staple, but if you haven't made one yet, a carving hack that's going viral could hook you up in less time than you think. 73-year-old carving consultant Barbara Costello took to TikTok with a really awesome tip. She says you should carve your pumpkin from the bottom instead of the top. And for quick cleaning and seed removal, she says you should use a hand mixer to mash and soften things up, and then you just scoop it out. And then instead of a knife, you should use cookie cutters to design a face and then use Vaseline to prolong its life. Now, on this Halloween theme, we want to continue because today is National Chocolate Day. It's time to celebrate one of the world's favorite treats. You know, chocolate comes from fermented and roasted cacao seeds from Mexico and Central and South America. It's got a lot of different iterations, including unsweet, milk, white, and dark. So, of course, we invite you to enjoy, as you probably will for the rest of the weekend and probably early next week, because that Halloween candy goes a long way. Well, we're out of time. We hope to see you at Muertos Fest tomorrow. The Night at Night returns Monday. Have a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.